Yeah, I made that mistake last meeting, that's why I was.
Are we ready now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I call this meeting to order and I've got 7:09 PM. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Here.
Trustee Wineland. Here. Mayor Howard.
Here,
Director Hart. Here. I'm sorry. Trustee Hart. Trustee Schaefer.
I'm here.
Okay.
we stand and say the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Did everybody get a chance to take a look at the agenda?
A little bit here and there.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Do we need to make any changes? No, we're good.
We're good.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned.
I have a question. The Parks project update and then the Mavericks broadband, are we gonna have to go into executive session for the Mavericks broadband?
No, ma'am.
Just making sure we don't have to juggle things around
No.
because I don't like people sitting and waiting for us to finish.
No, we don't need to.
Right.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Do we have anybody for public comment?
We do not as far as the paper.
Do we have anybody online?
Ms. Duvall, do you have any public comment? No.
No, no.
Okay, then we'll just go down to new business. And I guess oath of office
You're up.
for me. Have to talk slow.
I will talk slow and I will break it up. All right. Yeah, 'cause it's kind of long. So.
I know.
That's why I keep a piece of paper too, because I wouldn't remember it all. All right, raise your right hand. All right, I, Teresa Howard,
I, Teresa Terry Howard,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that as a member of the Board of Trustees
that as a member of the Board of Trustees
of the town of Kiowa,
of the town of Kiowa,
I will support and defend the Constitution
I will support and defend the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution and statutes of the state of Colorado,
the Constitution and statutes of the state of Colorado,
the charter and ordinances of the town of Kiowa,
the charter and ordinances of the town of Kiowa,
and that I will,
and that I will,
in all appointments and all other business
in all appointments and all other business
before the town Board of Trustees
before the town Board of Trustees
of the town of Kiowa,
of the town of Kiowa,
vote without favor, affection, partiality, or prejudice.
vote without favor,
Affection,
affection, partiality,
or prejudice,
or prejudice,
and that I will not promote
and I will not promote
or assent to any ordinance,
or assent to any ordinance,
resolution, or vote,
resolution, or vote,
or take part in or consent to any act
or take part or consent to any act
that appears to me
that appears to me
will abridge the rights and privileges
will abridge the rights and privileges
of the citizens of the town of Kiowa
of the citizens of the town of Kiowa
under the Constitution
under the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of Colorado.
and the state of Colorado.
Congratulations. You're out. Thank you. Besides, we're done.
Okay.
Did we get a new plate?
Okay. I think we need to interview Jonathan. We don't know him very well.
Right ahead.
I asked Ruth if we needed to, put some questions together for you guys, and she said she's gonna leave it to your devices.
if you had questions or, Ruth? Did
Yeah,
you wanna,
no, just that we have these applications for these candidates and I believe the board's familiar with the candidates and feel free to ask any questions, but we didn't submit any formalized questions. And that was it. You know, to be
Well-
perfectly, that we need some people from the community to serve on the board, and these candidates qualify and have experience and are interested in the community based upon our review, so feel free to proceed accordingly.
Well, we all know Jonathan. Does anybody have any questions for him? I'm just happy he's willing to stay with us.
Oh my.
Me too.
So how many years have you been here?
I think 7.
Okay, no, you were here before me,
It's
so I
about
was
right.
curious.
Yeah.
And, Connie, I have, I solicited her to get on the board. I tried before she even lived here.
For those of you that don't know Connie Stahl, she is the owner of 40 Mile Feet. And she lives
And
In
she lives
town.
in town.
in town.
Yep.
So,
Anybody have any questions for her? Okay,
Okay, all right. Unless you have questions for us or something you'd like to add.
No, I've never done anything like this before and it's gonna be really interesting and I
Oh,
hope
yeah.
that you guys will be patient with me because I don't exactly know all the lingo and the terminology, but I'm assuming that's
that will help.
in yes,
That will-
right.
yeah.
we've all been there, Connie, so don't worry
Oh,
about it.
gosh, okay.
We'll help you along.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
We appreciate you.
Well,
Yes,
thank you.
tremendously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you know, my family and I are very invested in this community and we want to see it succeed and be a safe, good place and, you know, a prosperous place, a place where, yeah, I think Ted's gonna choke me up a little bit. It's been a weird fall,
I know.
but, I feel blessed to have landed here.
Yeah.
In this town.
It's a good town.
Well, we're blessed to have you.
Yeah.
Great people.
And so that you know, she is applied to take Josh's
Yes,
term. So she'll be finishing out Josh's term. You will still be short a 4-year term trustee that
Yes.
we still need to fill that seat for.
I was
So,
gonna get to that,
okay.
but you beat me
Just wanted
to
to
it.
make sure.
The
So-
Josh has 2 years.
Josh has
From
2
Grant,
years left.
Yes.
Yes.
So she's gonna finish out Josh's term and then decide if she wants to.
Or 2 more years.
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
We didn't get any other applicants for the 4-year term?
No, ma'am.
No,
Mm.
I've been trying to beat people, but
It's hard for this board because it's a small rural community and they have to be from this community. They have to be
They have to
registered voter
live
in
in
this
town.
community.
Right,
So,
Yep.
right. And with all the negativity over the last couple of years that
Mhm.
has happened, that I have witnessed prior to him being on the board, that
yeah.
I'm sure it has left a lot of doubt in other people's minds, whether they wanna help,
well, hopefully we
help our
can
town move forward,
fix
you
it.
know?
Right.
Cause we're all in agreement, just so you know, that we'd like to see our little town shine, you know? Cause it's a good little town and I love it here. I've moved back like 5 times now, but you know.
Keep moving away.
And we approve both of them in one motion, okay? I would entertain a motion to, appoint both Connie and Jonathan,
No second.
okay? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye,
do a poll vote?
yeah, let's do that,
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Aye.
Trustee Wyland.
Aye.
Mayor Howard,
aye,
trustee Hart,
Aye.
all ayes.
Yay, thanks for coming back.
yes, thank you.
You can.
Now,
sit
come on
with
up here,
us.
Connie, and sit
Yeah.
and join us.
Now I get to
She
swear
gets
them in.
to swear them
Oh,
in.
that's right, you have to
Oh,
swear
that's
in.
right, they have to be sworn
But you
in.
can put your stuff down. All right, Jonathan, come on down. You're the next piece of paper I have.
Can you do them together since it's?
Yeah, I
a
can
little
do them together. Sure.
Oh, boy.
So we'll do it together. You can just repeat after me.
We.
Yeah. I state your name. All right, so you can raise your right hand. Okay, good. Okay, I state your name.
I, Jonathan Schaefer,
Okay. Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that as a member of the Board of Trustees
that as a member of the Board of Trustees
of the town of Kiowa,
of the town of Kiowa,
I will support and defend the Constitution
I will support and defend the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution and statutes of the state of Colorado,
the Constitution and the statutes of the state of Colorado,
the charter and ordinances of the town of Kiowa,
the charter and the ordinances of the state of Colorado,
and that I will,
and that I will,
in all appointments
in all appointments
and all other business
and all other business
before the town Board of Trustees
before the town
Board of Trustees
Board of Trustees
of the town of Kiowa,
of the town of Kiowa,
vote without favor,
vote without favor,
affection,
affection,
partiality,
partiality,
or prejudice,
or prejudice,
and I will not promote or assent
and I will not promote
or assent
or assent
to any ordinance,
or to any ordinance.
to any ordinance,
resolution, or vote,
resolution, or vote,
or take part in,
or take part in,
or consent to any act
or consent to any act
that appears to me
that appears to me
will abridge the rights and privilege
will abridge the rights and privilege
of the citizens of the town of Kiowa
of the citizens of the town of Kiowa
under the Constitution
under the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of Colorado.
and the state of Colorado.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
I will have you guys sign
Yay,
this.
thank you guys.
Don't leave it up behind.
Okay.
I don't ever remember
Thanks.
being this one.
Probably didn't do it right then.
She's accurate.
Yes,
It has changed.
okay, yeah,
I don't remember it being that long.
that's what we were just discussing. It wasn't done properly before.
Oh. Oh, that's-
Okay,
That's part of what we're doing is fixing a bunch of stuff. that
Yep.
happened tonight.
let's move on to selection of mayor pro tem. I would like to make a nomination of Tammy Hart. And the reason I would like to do that, Tammy is a little flexible with her work schedule. So if there were something that I were not able to attend, Tammy would be able to adjust her work schedule to do so. Would you accept the nomination?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have any other nominations? Okay. Should I make the motion or,
You could make the motion as a mayor, you can vote, make motions.
okay, I didn't know if I could make the motion. I would like to motion that we appoint,
Stand by just one.
Okay.
Trevor's asserting that she can't make motion.
I don't think mayors can make motion.
Ruth, do you want to end? Ruth?
I would make motion. But I don't
I'm
think
here. So, is somebody objecting to Terry being able to make that motion?
Nobody's objecting, Trevor's just,
Yeah,
inquiring
cannot
as to
make the
mayor's
motion.
ability to make a motion.
We've always been under the impression that mayors are same as like a president of the meeting, they cannot make a motion. They can attend it.
Ask for a motion, right?
Yes.
I'm asking Ruth.
Yeah.
for
Well,
her.
so actually, we were reviewing this issue for something else this week, Kim and and I think just because we have a new mayor and the mayor can certainly make motions and conduct themselves in according to the charter that way, and there's no exclusion for that. So I can give you that site if you want it. I just think there's been some confusion over the years. However,
Yeah.
if I can provide that section of the home charter if that's helpful.
Trevor, did you say you'd be willing to make a motion?
Oh, more, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, then let's let Trevor make the motion,
As,
so we make sure we're good,
yeah, I didn't,
okay?
going off of previous experience, and I'm not saying that's right or it's wrong, it's just
Right.
the way it's always been.
Well, we keep finding out, we've been doing things incorrectly for a while, so.
Okay, so I've got a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Thank you.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay,
Gonna do a full vote,
So,
No,
Unanimous.
you know.
yeah.
no way.
Okay.
But we will forward those provisions to you so everybody can see that.
Okay.
So, the same is true with respect to resolutions and ordinances. And, yeah, it's good to have that and we can all be on the same page.
Okay. Item D under new business, employment contract between the town of Kiowa and Kim. First off, we have never had Kim under a contract. Our previous town administrator was under a contract. A contract will help protect the town as well as the employee. And if you look through the employment agreement, that's in your packet, that we all should have already looked at. Basically, everything is what Kim already does. With the exception of, on page 5, the second paragraph. The town shall further pay a stipend of $100 per month as a technology allowance for a cell phone plan, other necessary technology to assist the administrator in performing her duties. Currently, Kim is using her personal cell phone for this, and she gets 1 million calls, and 500,000 of them are from me. There, we're going back to the reason we all have the tablets and
Yeah.
stuff.
I was under the assumption you had a town phone.
No, she doesn't. So
Because of the whole technology thing.
that's the only thing that varies. Does anybody have any questions on the rest of it?
so could that be applied to the trustees and the mayor as well? Doing, because I do use my own personal phone too for this. That was the only question or information needed on that.
Ruth?
But in terms of board members using their phones,
Yeah,
What is that?
and certainly up to the Board of Trustees if they want to provide an additional stipend for that type of use, but everybody that is on the board should definitely only be using their Board of Trustees email address. Because in the event any type of litigation ever were to occur, they could subpoena all your records if you've been doing town business on your personal phone and your texts and your personal texts, which would be most unfortunate. So again, with regard to compensating the board members for the phone, that's up to all of you.
I mean, to the degree of $100, if that was everybody on this board, say we get our 7th person, is $700 a month, that equals out to a lot in a year,
mhm,
a lot.
yes.
And in light of what she just said, I mean, that has me concerned if we get subpoenaed. I mean, we can absolutely change that where we only communicate through your.
And I mean, I
Right,
like
it's-
what you do now. You text us and say, check your emails.
I do. One thing that would change though is I would take it on a separate line on Verizon, so that would pay for that second line on
Right.
Verizon.
Right,
I won't be utilizing my personal cell phone
Right.
anymore.
but you could
So-
still text us
I can still do everything I do now.
Yeah,
It'll
to
just be
tell
on a
us to check our
dedicated line for
emails.
the town.
Because personally, I mean, I don't think we've had a text that discusses any business.
No, that got shut down
We
a
can't
while ago.
do
We
that,
said,
yeah.
hey, we can't have any
I
discussion.
have had
I shut
situations, little cell phones been coming out to the public already though. So I
And
have the
yeah,
public calling me on my personal
yeah,
cell phone
that
number.
doesn't, and if
So-
anybody gets your personal cell phone, somebody's given it out or you have. I told Kim, I don't want mine going out to anybody. I give the people that need to have it.
Mine's on the door at the place of work, so.
Yeah,
Everybody's got my phone.
yeah.
I didn't know that, Bailey, but now everybody does. So. You wanna get old Bailey, go down and look at the door of her business.
So I don't know, it's up to you guys, what do you think? I personally don't feel it's needed. Because we're not, she will do town business on a cell phone. We don't, we do our town business here or through an email. Just my opinion.
Well, and I run my own business, so my cell phone is already wrapped up into that.
So is mine.
I think the extent of our text messages are, my notifying you, your packets are available on your emails. That can come to a halt, it's just that, you know, I have people asking, where's our packet?
No, I would
You know?
prefer you to keep doing
And I
that.
like that because when there's an update on the packet, maybe I had already read the other one. And I'm not checking my email because I'm at work today or whatever.
Right.
I like being notified.
So I mean, I can keep that up. The other emails I send you would be applicative to any kind of emergency or something we have in town,
Right.
but we're gonna talk later in the meeting about a program that I came across that really, if you sign up on that, like the rest of the residents, you would be getting essentially the same notifications
Right.
by whatever avenue you choose to get them by.
Mhm.
So,
So are we all under the general consensus of no? We won't do the cell phones for us, only him? Are we okay? All right.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I just saw that. I was like, okay, the rest of us do that too. You know? They said not to your extent, but
yeah,
She has 1 billion people call her
I know.
all the time.
I don't
I'm
wanna
sure.
use my personal cell phone.
Yeah,
Not
I
for
don't blame
town
you.
business
I
anymore.
have 3 phones,
And
yes, so I
yeah,
don't
I
use-
wanna move, anybody that has it now, I'm gonna move them away from using that number and giving them.
There you go.
So,
Yep.
so are we, and do we get, are we as a town? Getting a phone that is
You're not getting a phone at all.
that contact for you?
You're not getting a phone at all. I'm adding a second line onto my personal account. That is a dedicated number just for Kiowa, just for this board, and I could put it on my business card. And that can be a cell phone number that the citizens can try to contact me on.
Okay.
But it will no longer be my personal cell phone number.
Oh, but you don't have to get a new device?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
No.
That's good.
But that way she'll know too, if, you know, remember the community's not calling her on a Sunday night at 8 o'clock
Right.
on her personal line.
Yeah. that'd be good.
And I guess this is the norm. I had to ask Kim and Ruth about it. I personally have never, in all my many years of working, I've never been under a contract. But I guess that's kind of a thing now, especially in this industry. So that being said, do we have any other questions on this agreement?
The second amended base salary?
That's just stating factually the step increases that you've given me over
Right.
the years.
Right. Because if you look, it goes clear back. So. Because she started work for us,
September 7th, 2021.
right? I thought it was 2020. So. And the amount that's listed in here is the amount that was approved on the budget. Last month or month before last.
Got it.
Last month, I think it was.
Yeah,
So I don't, like, kind of new to the contract side too. Is this like a forever contract until anybody parts ways type of thing?
That's accounted for in there.
yeah, it is
So
accounted
where was
for in
that at?
here.
Well, I saw the, if you went involuntary or if you went voluntary, but,
There's also
It's-
termination.
but there's not like a. This needs to be revised every year, or,
It
If-
doesn't have to, sorry,
Go ahead, Ruth.
it does not have to be reviewed by the Board of Trustees every year according to our charter, but you certainly have the right to do so every year when we do our budget, certainly.
Well, it's.
Something's gonna change and
Section one, the term, this agreement shall
Evaluation.
remain in full force until terminated by the town as provided. So,
okay, I'm missing
Right.
that.
Either
section
you
one-
terminate it or I terminate it. And
Okay,
it
so
doesn't
those
count for
stipulations.
annual performance evaluation. So if there's changes to this based off of what you put in the evaluation, then this would have to be changed.
Right,
So unless there was a change in the
Right.
pay or this or that, that's the only time that it really needs to be gone back and amended. Okay.
do I have a motion to accept it?
So moved.
A second,
A second.
any further discussion? All in favor,
Aye.
opposed? Should I have read out that resolution?
Probably.
Okay.
That's part of meeting our ADA compliance is people that are online that can't visually see it. According to Trish.
So do we need to
be reading
redo the
this.
vote, or should I just read it and state that it was approved
So
You can do
unanimously?
that.
no,
Okay.
I actually prefer you vote on the resolution as proposed. So it matches record, sorry.
Okay. Resolution 1, Series 2025, a resolution approving the employment agreement between the town and Kimberly Boyd. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, second,
Second.
any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay,
So Ruth, Terry is not, you don't want her to read the resolution for the ADA compliance?
Well, we post it. She can certainly read the entire text.
We
No.
don't post packets, Ruth. That's part of the problem right now, until we find a program or an alternative way to reach that ADA compliance. The web designer is advising that they need to be read in their entirety for those that don't have capability of reading it themselves.
Well, this whole page. Right?
no, all I have to do is read
The
the
resolution.
title of the resolution. So,
Oh,
Actually, it's the whole verbiage of the resolution.
yeah, this
It's
whole
however you
entire,
guys choose to do it. I'm just telling you what the web designer said. So,
well, if Ruth is saying that to be in compliance, we need to read the whole
And that-
resolution.
I actually think that Kim is correct that you need to read the whole thing as of January 1st because of all those new laws and our internet site is not completely compliant, so our record needs to reflect what we're approving.
hopefully we'll fix that.
okay,
She
third
has to read the
time,
whole-
resolution
Sorry.
number series of 2025, Town of Kiowa, Colorado. A resolution approving the employment agreement for the town administrator in the town of Kiowa, Colorado. Whereas the town of Kiowa is a Colorado municipality governed by the Kiowa Home Rule Charter, and whereas section 4.03 of the Kiowa Home Rule Charter provides the Board of Trustees shall hire a town administrator who shall serve as the chief administrative office at the pleasure of the board, and whereas the Board of Trustees has retained Kimberly Boyd as town administrator. This date is incorrect,
Yeah,
Oh.
2012.
Really?
should be
Mhm. I noticed that
2021.
earlier, too.
Okay. See, glad you read it.
Mhm.
I saw that earlier and I was trying to find it.
And seeks to formalize her appointment by approving an agreement that sets forth the terms and conditions of her position with the town of Kiowa as the town administrator. And whereas the Board of Trustees has reviewed the employment agreement and desires to approve the town of Kiowa town administrator employment agreement, which is attached and incorporated herein as Exhibit A. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of the town of Kiowa, Colorado as follows. Section 1, the employment agreement between the town and Kimberly Boyd, town administrator, attached hereto as Exhibit A, is hereby approved by the Board of Trustees of the town of Kiowa, and the mayor is authorized to execute the same on behalf of the town. Section 2, effective date. This resolution shall take effect upon its approval by the town council. Passed, approved, and adopted this 14th day of January 2025 by the Board of Trustees of the town of Kiowa, Colorado.
By the following vote.
Do we need to redo the vote?
Do they need to redo the vote? She's already done it twice.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I would do that. Just,
Okay, can I have a motion to adopt this?
Yes, so moved.
Okay. Second,
A second.
all in favor, say aye.
I,
All opposed? Okay. So it's,
we'll get this right now.
Yeah,
Same
I
will
will-
be the ordinances.
there is a second thing here as I was reading. Under the 4th paragraph, whereas the Board of Trustees, that should be trustees, has reviewed the employment agreement. Otherwise, the rest of it's okay.
Okay.
Trustees.
So you'll do another one and I can sign it?
Yes.
No.
No, I don't have to read it again, she'll just do another one.
Yes. I will.
Because it's just typos.
Yeah.
Doesn't change the meaning.
All right. Thank you, baby Jesus.
What is this? Okay, that's the employee. I can sign the employment agreement though for you, correct?
Yes.
I'll do that before I leave. Okay, next item of business. Resolution 2, Series 2025, Town of Kiowa, Colorado. A resolution establishing a designated public place for the posting of meeting notices as required by the Colorado Open Meetings Law. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of the town of Kiowa, Colorado as follows. Section 1, the notification board at the front door of Kiowa Town Hall shall constitute the designated place for the posting of meeting notices as required by the Colorado Open Meetings Law. The town clerk shall be responsible for posting the required notices no later than 24 hours prior to the holding of the meeting. All meeting notices shall include specific agenda information where possible. Do I have a motion to accept that?
Is that something we have to do every year?
Every
Yes.
year.
Yeah,
Every
oh,
year.
all
So
right,
moved.
So moved. Yep, second.
Okay. Any discussion?
I'm sorry, who, Jonathan made the motion, you said,
David second.
made the motion, Jonathan seconded.
okay, thank you.
Okay,
We did it at the same time.
Thanks.
all in favor?
okay.
Opposed? Okay, I can sign this one, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
I've seen.
all right, contract with Civic Plus mass notification system and agenda and meeting management program. Kim sent us all the information on it. Kim, would you like to explain it a little further to everyone?
I would. I already discussed this with the water authority, so.
Was that in the updated
We
packet?
were all here when you were talking about it, just in case you don't wanna repeat too much, but
Okay.
I think it would work.
There's. Those were in the initial packet,
Oh,
so,
that's my fault.
yeah, it's okay.
Sorry about
There's
that.
2 separate programs. As we all know, as I explained, the Water Authority, we've had issues over the last year and a half with, two things. Notifications to the entire town. We have an incident in town, as it relates to the Water Authority, we have a water main break, in one part of town and not another part of town. We've never had the capability of making a mass notification to anybody. Our accounting software, billing software, nothing that we have to our disposal allows a notification system to the town for any purpose. I got a notification through email a week ago and from the county, and I noticed that it wasn't coming from the county computers, it was coming from Civic Plus. Civic Plus is who maintains our Municipal, okay? I wasn't aware that they had other programs or softwares available from their company. So I reached out to them and I said, I need to talk to you about this mass notification I got from the county. Is this something you guys maintain? And in actuality, we've been talking about how Elizabeth and the county are not meeting ADA compliance with their website, but in actuality, it's being maintained by Civic Plus, the same company. And with that, they get these two programs through them. This mass notification system, it can be used for notifications like the water main breaks or like the gas main break up the highway when it was being shut off for the entire town. We can send out notifications of events that we're having, our community meetings, significant public hearings that we're having, things of significance to the town. We can send that out as a mass notification. Currently, all we have is Facebook, Twitter, and a line on your water bills, you know, and I've gotten a lot of complaints from citizens that they're not getting any notifications because they don't utilize social media at all. And a lot of them probably don't even use internet in our community. We have a very elderly community. They don't even access a computer for the most part. Going to this mass notification program, it'll allow us to send mass text messages. They can get voice calls. It will send social media alerts. It will post to our website. Those can all happen simultaneously too. So when I make a notification, once I send that out, I can choose to send it to all of those all at once. So the citizens have a choice. They can get notifications through all of those. They can get notifications just by email. They can get notification just by text messaging. There's so many options with this software. For emergency situations, there's unlimited emergency only voice messaging. So when we have an absolute emergency in this town, it is utilized kind of in the same way as a reverse 911. If it's just in one part of the town, I can isolate that part of the town and just send that emergency message to that one side of the town. If it involves the entire town, we can include the entire town. They will get a voice recorded message as to what that emergency is over their phone. They will get it to a text message. They will get it to an email. There's a mobile app option that allows me to be away from the office. If I'm in Texas on vacation and something happens, Sasha either has the ability to do it or I have the ability to do it from my mobile phone. You guys can, or the citizens can download a mobile app and get all of this through this mobile app as well. We can receive authorization from FEMA to issue public alerts for things that are of federal concern. If there's a terrorist attack or something within our vicinity that affects Kiowa, we will have the capability through FEMA to send that out. We don't have to rely on the county to do that anymore. For that particular program, the mass notification program, they are foregoing the setup cost for us because of the size of our municipality and our budget. And along with that, they're also reducing the annual cost that we would pay to maintain this. So there will be no setup costs. That's saving up $2,000. The annual subscription cost is $3,000 in total. The Water Authority's already voted to take half of that. So if we're splitting it between the two entities, it's a lot less than it would for one entity to take it all on themselves. So that would be $1,500 annually for the town to split that with KWWA. The other is a subject that's near and dear to our hearts. We have our website already. I had told them we don't want to pay to have another website done. We had ours built off of a grant through SIPA. We're not changing that. Trish is still utilizing that last $5,000 grant we got through SIPA to finish remediating what's already on there. By putting these add-ons, which this can be added on to our website, we do not have to go with them for a website. These could just be added on. We could create our agenda and our meeting minutes and our packets through this program. You guys have the capability of going in there and making suggestions for revisions, checking approval or otherwise. That can be tracked through there. The templates for our agendas and our minutes and such can be set up in there, so they'll all be standard, they won't be changing. And once we save those and we publish those automatically go to the website and they go in an ADA compliant fashion. They will get posted on there by PDF, they will get posted on there by HTML, which is what Trish is currently doing with the agenda. And our meeting videos will be published on there. It'll be on a YouTube platform, but integrated onto our website where people can go to our website now and pull all this information off of there without having to submit records request.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Which would save us a lot of time.
it was
Yeah, if you remember, I was complaining about the number of core requests that were happening.
And we're not doing this
We
yet?
don't have to deal that with it anymore.
I didn't know this existed until I called them about the mass messaging. And they were going through these programs and that flipped through real fast. I'm like, go back. What is the agenda minute program? So they did a tutorial on it. They suggested, because of the fact we run two entities out of our office and that we have multiple boards or commissions, that we go with the select life option. And I gave you a breakdown in there of the three options they have, what's provided under those options. That one has unlimited users. It accounts for 5 different types of meetings and board configurations, so we can do the town board, the water board, the planning commission, and Main Streets board when that one's established. It allows for virtual training. It does have a 14 to 16 week implementation of it. This program has the ability to seamlessly upload agendas, packets, minutes, and supplementary documents. So if there's other documents that the town has that we need to get out there on the website, published for the community, it will do that separately. It embeds our videos to our website through YouTube. This one does have an implementation fee of $1,895, but split between the town and the water authority. That implementation fee is $947.50.
So that is the 900 on top of 15, right?
The
This is an
1,500 was for
add-on.
the other program, okay?
And this is an add-on.
This is
program.
still an add-on program.
Okay.
Both of these are add-on programs. The annual subscription to this one is $2,300 total, or $1,150 for Kiowa and $1,150 for the water authority. Total cost for both subscriptions to each the town and the water authority is $2,650. But that's our annual fee to maintain both those programs as an add-on to our website. And it gives us all the capabilities of mass notifications, publishing the agendas and packets and videos of the meetings to the website, embedding them there. We don't, part of the problem we have right now that keeps us in issues with certain citizens is that we have to send the agendas to Trish. As you all know, Trish, our web designer, is a DOLA employee. She's the director of that ADA compliant program. When we send her the agendas, she gets them and she puts them on there when she sees the emails. She doesn't sit in front of her computer and just do web designing for Kiowa. Now, you guys did a resolution saying our posting place is gonna be the board out front. We do that every year, but people are looking at our website to get it off our website.
Yes.
You know, we've tried everything around trying to meet their expectations and their request. You know, we implemented a sunshine list, which is anybody that wants to have the packets disseminated to them. When I disseminate them to you guys, they email us, let us know which boards or commissions they want the packets of, and we put them on a list. And once I send you guys the packets, they go to those people through the mode of whatever they choose to get them through. this would make it just so much easier, you know, it really would cut down on the staffing time to fulfill multiple FOIA requests often.
Mhm.
The time to download the videos.
It takes Sasha, about 15-20 minutes to download one video.
Sure.
You know, so, and then we've been trying to create a YouTube channel for each entity to load them all to. We've not had the time to finish that. This would just seamlessly put it all together, and I think, you know, for $2,650 a year, it would be really advantageous for us to go to these programs.
And I will add on that for those of you that weren't here, I think all of us were. The water board is willing to go as long as we agree to it. That it'll be half and half.
Yeah, they voted to approve at the meeting earlier.
Question on the communications piece.
Yeah.
It has ability to go to landlines,
It does, yeah.
and then is there a price? Is there like a limitation, is there a price per message push?
No, there's not.
Okay, it says that, up to 60,000, I saw. And then, I have a question. When it comes to, you said earlier that you noticed that your messages were coming from Civic Plus. Does it show up at Civic Plus, or is it going to say?
It's a
Town
town
of
Kiowa
Kiowa?
at civicplus.com.
Mhm.
Oh,
That's how I get them from the county.
Okay.
oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
So-
So,
I don't want somebody like me saying, oh my God, who in the heck is the Civic Plus,
Right.
you know?
yeah,
I'm
no,
not looking at this.
Yeah.
Right.
So can we amend the resolution we just did and add the website to the posting place? Cause we're gonna post it at the front door and on the website. Can we amend?
we could, but
I think we have
You're
to get
gonna-
into contract with them.
yeah, I mean, there's a
Yeah.
14 to 16 week implementation.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And
And
when we
then I
come
think
down,
also on that resolution, you have to have a physical.
right,
Location.
You have to have a physical look.
yeah.
Oh,
So as long as it's there and we vote to have it anywhere else, that's great. But it has to be on the notification
oh,
board.
okay.
The
That's
rest
what
are
we
just
voted
bonus.
on. Yeah,
The physical place.
The physical
Right.
place is a
Well,
must.
yep,
The others are bonus.
Notification board down in front of court.
Yeah, and you know,
yes,
I will tell you, there's a hazard you run there. I mean, I was gonna say, we can add it on next year and say the notification board and that, but if you commit to posting it on the website
And the
If
internet
something
goes down.
happens.
and the internet goes down and you
Then,
don't
yes.
post it
You're
there,
host.
yep.
now
Yeah.
you violated what you
Yeah.
said you
Right.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we're doing what we've been doing. I just wondered if that was something that needed to happen. But
Yeah.
it don't need to happen, so.
Right.
It's frosting on the cake.
so then we can approve this now, and then at the end of the implementation time, we can, redo or revise or put in a new resolution to also include it on the website.
We don't wanna do that.
I
No,
wanna do that, cause now
I
you're
wouldn't.
committing to
It's
it.
just as she said, if the internet goes down or something
And
and
we
it's
can't
not
fulfill
there,
that.
then we're in violation.
Right, okay, well.
Motion to approve the contract with Civic Plus.
I'll second that.
Yeah. So I think we touched on this, at one point last year, getting mass notifications out because,
we did.
We did, we just didn't have an
We didn't
avenue
have. we
to
were-
do it.
Right.
right.
Thank goodness for the county and their
Yeah.
message
We
they
didn't
sent
know
So
out.
I'm glad we found this,
Well, and
because the reverse 911 calls, you know, when you said that, we didn't meet certain criteria
Mhm.
to be notified, especially when we had that gas line burst up here. I think that's just outrageous, so I'm glad we found this.
This allows us to make the determination what we disseminate to our citizens, rather than somebody else say, I don't really wanna use my system
Right.
for that. And you know, and I respect that, that's their policy, you know, they go by their policy, we have our own policy. But a lot, with us maintaining it ourselves, then we have the say so on what we disseminate and what we don't disseminate.
Yeah, and if there's like a 16-week, time frame of when it can really start going, that's like perfect timing, because that's when summer starts, when we start
Yeah.
a lot of our. funding stuff.
So and this will go out and people will have the option to opt in or opt out. They can opt in for whatever avenues they want to receive their messaging. or opt out, whichever ones they don't wanna utilize, but just like Code Red. They have to do it themselves. We don't automatically put anybody on this.
Right.
We don't automatically take anybody off of it. If they're not getting their messages, if this starts, I'm just warning you guys, because this will happen. When this starts and if we have our first mass notification and somebody's screaming they didn't get a notification. Then the first question that needs to be asked is, did you go and sign up? Well, we're gonna put this on our webpage. We're gonna put it on there like Code Red is and
And I
Tell everybody where
suggest
it's
we
at.
also put it out on the
We're gonna put it out.
notification board.
everywhere we
Yes.
can.
Yeah.
Facebook, we'll put it on the post office.
Yes.
It's, the responsibility to get into it and sign up on it is put on the citizen. It's not on anybody in this office or anybody sitting at this table.
Right.
Okay?
It's kind of like the online billing for the water bills. You have to actively go in
Yeah.
and sign up
Right.
for express bill pay.
And shut it off.
I don't go in and do that, so.
Okay, so I've got a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
It'll be a while before we hear anything
Yeah.
from them, huh?
I'll get with them tomorrow, so what the next steps are. Sasha and I will have to get the training on it. And then I'll have an update for you guys next month as to where we're at with it and what's gonna happen.
Hey, sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Okay,
guys. I got
next
lots of
item,
trainings coming up.
staff reports. I have a couple things to say. We've got a lot in the works that I know all of you are aware of, and we've started something new with the main streets. I would really like to give huge kudos to Kim. She has found these grants and programs and such that are helping this town out tremendously. And if she hadn't put the extra work in to get this done, we'd be sitting just like we were 4 years ago. So, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, Kim. We appreciate that. Second thing I'd like to bring up, and Kim will go into this a little bit further, about the Main Streets program. We had a lot of the business owners show up. And the business owners in this town that do not live here are fussing that they have no say-so what goes on in the town. Well, as the town charter is, you have to be a resident inside the town limits in order to vote on things. However, all I heard was, no one listens to us. I want everybody to get the word out there to the business owners. We will listen to you. Come to the board meetings, tell us what your issues are. And as long as it's something valid and not just a pie in the sky thing, you know, if we need to take it further and do some action on it, we will. It bothered me that they said they don't have a voice in this town. They do. Show up here, tell us what you feel.
Well, furthermore, their voices are to be heard at meetings like the one that you heard them say
Exactly,
that.
exactly,
And in February, you need to come back in February.
exactly.
Talk about what you want your storefront, your main street to look like.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
That's where their voice is gonna be heard, is at the meetings like that where everybody should be there.
Right,
Well,
Right.
and hopefully something like this will get more people involved. Hey, there's a meeting tonight.
yes,
Oh, I'm gonna go to that meeting because
Right.
I don't like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the lack of people in this room right now is, it's
Yes.
hard to listen to people like that when it's like, when was the last time you showed up?
right, right.
I will tell you, I was shocked by some of the people that said that. Cause that was new to me, cause I do work closely with a couple of them that made that comment. So I did have follow-up calls with them the next day. Cause I wanted to know where that was coming from,
Mhm.
you
Well,
know?
and those same two people, I have conversations with all the time.
Yeah, and what was relayed to me was they're still holding on to, I guess, situations that happened before I came in this door. They're still upset at previous administrators, they're still upset at previous mayors. It has nothing to do with anybody sitting at this table. It has nothing to do with anybody sitting in the chair every day in this office. So I'm struggling with are we still lacking somewhere that we're not affecting a change that we're trying to make? That it's not, the message is not getting through? How do we do that? And again, we spread the message numerous times that night when these comments were made, when the meetings are. And that's what public comment is. And then I did say to them, you know, if you're being reasonable, you can't, I told them, I said, for instance, you have a business, say your business has a franchise and you're in 5 different towns. Do you reasonably think that you should have the capability of voting in each one of those municipalities as well as the municipality where you live? That's just not how the world works. It's never worked that way. But coming to the board meetings and making comment during public comment, the board is receptive. They listen. I mean, you guys have had conversations with me of things you hear out in the community. I mean, let alone public comment.
Right.
So you're listening. I know you're listening. We've had the conversations. We just, I mean, all I can think of is we just need to keep getting the message out there.
Yeah.
You know, and not, and I hate to say this, but not giving merit to the complaints that refuse to do anything for themselves. At some point, adults have to do something to help themselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
Oh. And this is not a new complaint.
Oh, I know.
And I remember, I mean, it was, I want to say it was 81. My dad went down and the town board meetings were held at the Kiowa State Bank, which is Debbie's building, when I was down there. And it's in the back room. And this is back when you could smoke indoors. And, you know, my dad remembers walking in there and Bob Johnson, who owns a 2-story house at the end of Hughes Street. And Jack Pemberton, who owns a house next to me in what used to be the service station.
Used to.
And Gleason Cruz, who lived right back here on the abstract office. I mean, that was the town deal. And Dad remembers looking through the smoke at Gleason's pipe, you know, talking about doing an addition on the clinic. And shortly after that, you know, he's like, they were like, man, the discussion about being on the town board. And this is in the 80s. And my dad says, you know, he says, it's kind of weird. He says, I'm probably, and I'm just as much as fault as what he pointed out. He says, I'm probably in this town during business hours more than anybody else. You know, there's a couple new guys that got put up more than they ever could be. And he says, and those were the new ones were the ones throwing the fit. And he says, and they're gonna tell me how to run this deal. And so it's old complaint. Hell, that's over 40 years ago. But the thing I do want to point out is, and thank you for being a part of this, because, you know, now we got actually 3 business people that operate a business in this town, that live in this town, that are on this board. And it's been a long damn time
Yeah.
since I've been. And I got one other little thing I want to throw out. I was in Ray, Colorado, had to go to a town board meeting there in Ray, Colorado, which has, I think, 3 times the population we do or more. And I walked in there and it felt just like home. There was me and a couple, maybe 3 or 4 people, the staff, somebody from the local newspaper, and the board members, and that was it. And that's in Ray, Colorado. So it's, unless, I mean, you know, unless we did something catastrophic, exciting to waken everybody, you don't have it right here.
Right. What you got, John?
Two recommendations to business owners. We have a Chamber of Commerce in Elizabeth that is extended to this area. And number one, depends on who's in the leadership at the Chamber of Commerce in Elizabeth. But there are people in the past who've been leadership of that Chamber of Commerce, and one of their commitments is to be at these meetings, either online or physically present. I don't see anybody from the Chamber of Commerce here tonight. You can go to those chamber people and say, we want you at this meeting because we want all of your members to know what we do every month. We want you at our workshops, we want you at our regular meetings, that kind of thing. Also to the south, we have the Eastern Plains Chamber of Commerce. thousands of business owners,
Where's that?
all levels. All levels.
Where's that based out of?
It used to be called. It's on a college campus.
Pikes Peak Community.
Partially a college campus in Falcon, partially in. I don't remember. When I was full-time, they wanted me covering all those meetings and all their activities and everything for the business. And I was taking the majority of pictures that were appearing in Ranchland News, advertising and so on. But since I'm part-time, they cut that off, which is stupid. So, but
Well, as we get into the community meeting report, we will explain a little bit more. We're trying to get a board together with that.
for
That's
your
business
purposes, to
owners
be
in this
successful
town.
with those business owners, you want those people here.
Yeah.
Yes,
You go to the Chamber of Commerce and say, we demand you be at every meeting, we demand you be at every workshop. All of what we do needs to be communicated to all of your members.
Yeah.
And you recruit, I mean, that. New members every single.
So it's interesting you bring them up, because I did reach out to them at one point a year or so ago, and I was
Yeah,
given a
yeah.
folder, handout. Offering, it was like a $5,000 a year commitment to them. And they would put our events, maybe a couple days, a month in their booklet. There was never an offer to come to our meetings, and just so you know, they have moved out of Elizabeth. They're running it out of a home in Parker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought they had kind of dissolved the
They
office
dissolved
over
it.
there.
So it's membership based?
Yes, and and at the time,
not anything
I
else.
couldn't, and we were paying the same price that Elizabeth would pay, or a larger community, and I wasn't willing to commit the town of Kiowa to $5,000 a year for a chamber of commerce in Elizabeth that wasn't even being operated out of Elizabeth, it was being operated out of a home in Parker.
Right.
So we
Back-
did go that route, but the other one I've not heard of,
I go
so,
back to the original statement, it depends on the leadership.
yes,
Yes.
I understand
Eastern
that.
Plains,
Okay.
out of, basically US 24 and 94 and so on down there, is extremely active and actively recruiting. They
Okay,
have thousands of members.
Okay.
I like that, I'll check
Very
into that
people.
though.
Last time I talked to these people face to face was at an event in Peyton,
Okay,
and I said, are you still actively recruiting? And he said, every day, every day.
Okay.
We at
We
least
go
know
after new businesses
that.
in eastern Colorado every single day.
Okay, great.
Thank you for the info,
And
John.
that's Eastern Plains Chamber of Commerce?
Yeah.
I've got it written down. One last thing I wanna cover, which kind of goes back to everything, as I'm sitting at these meetings, listening to things. And as Kim said, there's a lot of rumors that go around this town. And they get 3/4 of the sentence correct, and the other quarter is totally wrong. So, I wished we had an audience here that I could say to them, go to the horse's mouth before you start spreading something that you don't know whether it's true or not. Come to us. I'll shut up now. Does any board members have any reports?
I literally was catching chickens for a lady in my chicken tractors, you know, the started pullets, and helping her, you know, stuff them in boxes and all that. And she said, oh, I had to get here because I heard this place is closing soon. And I'm catching chickens and I said, oh, no, we're not closing. And she literally said, oh, honey, they probably just haven't told you yet.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, no, I'm Grandma County. I own the place. I would be the one that would make that choice. So
Right.
no, we're not closing. And
Yes,
I'm like, where the hell did that come from?
yeah, I know,
I don't know, September-ish.
yeah,
What?
yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
maybe it was
it's-
close to closing time. No,
Yeah.
Having a real estate.
People are amazing.
Oh
They're
my
just
God.
amazing.
Yes, it is.
We get the weirdest calls.
Oh, I know. Oh, I did.
Well, half the time we don't get the calls,
Well,
but you
yeah.
guys hear it, and then you find
Actually,
out about it at the monthly
yes,
board
yes.
meeting.
I heard a good rumor tonight. I went in and talked immediately to Kim. And she said, Terry, that's something we've already talked about.
Well, if we talk
I
about
said,
it
okay.
every monthly
I-
board meeting,
I just wanted to make
Public.
sure
the lagoon over.
that
at
this
the
is
sewer
what I
plant.
was
The
told,
lagoon has a
so.
sewer plant.
Yeah, what about?
That right now, we have a pump down at the sewer plant. Everything has had to be pumped to the lagoon because it's not processing through the pumps. And, the lagoon
That's
is
what we
not
talked
lined.
about, yeah, that's
The
what we
lagoon is
talked
not
about
lined, it
lining it.
never was lined.
Mhm.
Every time that has to happen, it has to go into the state as a report of a spill because it's not lined.
Hmm.
So we work with the state until the repairs are made, then we pay McDonald Farms to come out here, pump it out and dispose of it properly. And the suggestion was made by myself last month and Donnie, that maybe we look at lining it. It's
Yep.
gotta be a heck of a lot less. I know it'll be a heck of a lot less more stressful, less stressful to just line the sucker rather than keep having to work through these reports to the state, you know?
But the rumor was, she knew about it for 6 months and
Didn't tell any of you guys. I
anybody.
kept it all to
Wow, you
myself.
know,
Oh, good.
Um,
Who would say
So at
Oh.
Raymond,
Amazing.
at Raymond's Lagoon, which is on the Big Sandy, it's actually on my family's property. It was, my family gave them the property to do the original sewer treatment plant in
Yeah.
Raymond. This is my granddad ran the SCS office. They tested the water on the Big Sandy Creek prior to the lagoon, and they tested it on the backside of it. It came out cleaner on the backside than it did going in, and it's because it's how they set it up with the sand and silt
Yeah,
Cause it filtered.
to filter it out.
yeah,
And, you know, it's just, now they're building a whole new system,
ability, yeah.
but yeah, it's just.
I'm just
People,
like, where does
the
this come
worst-
from?
So, just this one is the one that still blows my mind. The worst deal they got, the Kiowa Water Wastewater Authority. Before it became, but what got them in the financial wreck that happened was two things. But part of it came from our beloved federal government declared Kiowa Creek as a recreational waterway.
What?
And so
Really?
this is God's truth. And so this is why they built the large septic system down there. This is what the cost was. Everybody thinks it's over the flipping water tower because they can see
Yeah,
that
it's
son
over
of
the
a
sewage.
buck
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
But it was that sewer plant.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
because of, at the time, so this would have been 2000, I wanna say 4, but at the time, the first property, which is up by the water tower now, and the other property were all slated for development, and there was a piece just north of Kiowa. These were all properties slated for large development. And so the town authority at the time, and I'm not saying what they did was wrong, it turned out wrong. They overbuilt that sewer
Mhm.
plant because they were anticipating this growth.
A lot of growth.
And so if we build it at X, we'll be able to just,
Head on.
cause it's already mandated by
Yeah.
the feds.
Yeah.
And that is honestly what got them in the financial wreck. Everybody thinks it's the.
That water
beautiful
tower
thing
cost
on-
less than everything else.
Well, the
Yes.
water tower was donated.
Yeah.
All they had was the money into erecting it twice. Cause they put on the wrong piece of ground the first time. But, I mean,
Oh, Lord.
there's things called shit show, anyway, but I mean, there's a few train wrecks involved, but that was one of them. But really, the thing that put them underwater
What's the sewer?
financially was the sewer pit.
I'll be known.
Yeah,
I
And
know,
that's not
That-
a rumor.
yeah.
Right,
That's the damn truth.
yeah.
that's interesting.
Okay, let's move
Yeah,
on
sorry.
here.
Okay.
Ruth, do you have any comments for us?
I do not.
Okay. Kim,
Okay. Community meeting on Main Street was January 7th. It was, like Terry said, it was a good turnout. I bet we had about 40-50 people there. Lots of interaction and questions from the community, moving forward in the coming weeks. I'll be finalizing, a page on our website for Main Streets and posting a Main Street Board application. So we're gonna start taking applicants for the Main Street Board. As well, I'll be reaching out to key entities in our community for involvement in that board. We're looking for, people from the school. We're looking for people from, say, the Masonic Lodge, because they represent our veterans here.
Yep.
I'm looking for, people, our business owners, our nonprofits. the library, things of that nature. Museum.
Yep.
For the historical aspect of
And I
it.
think they want a couple of citizens on there too.
They do want a couple citizens
Yeah.
on there.
And are
So
we considered conflict of interest?
you would be.
Yeah.
That was a concern, I will tell you, that was a concern voiced by some of the people there, okay? Their interpretation of this is. So how this will work is the business owners qualify for a $2,500 grant from DOLA, okay? Our commitment to our business owners in this program is that we, as a town, will match that by 20%. So we'll put in another $500 to their grant that they're getting, okay? Their interpretation of that before they even got to that meeting, without even calling this office and making any inquiries or asking any questions, is that I will come to you every month and say, this business or that business got a $2,500 grant and ask for approval from you to make the match that we've signed as a requirement to be part of the program.
Right.
I had to tell them at the meeting that that's not how that works. We're signing a document saying we're committing to being a Main Street community. And by and through that, we're also committing to each one of you as business owners that we will have, this is our part in this and we'll abide by this. And that you'll abide by this as a business owner, you know, for what the stipulations are for the businesses in, you know, in our town. So that caused a lot of
Rumors.
commenting, yeah, a
Mhm.
lot of rumors shared across, and you could tell those were shared prior to getting to that meeting.
Yes.
So we had to squelch some of that. So, yeah, we need to be clear on what we're signing and what we're committing to, and, you know, just reiterating that message to all of them, that we're here to work with you and for you, really, you know? We have just as much a vested interest in you thriving as you wanting to thrive. So
And this isn't gonna work unless they sign
it
up.
won't work. We
and
won't
have
have
a
a
board.
Main Street if
Right.
they don't.
Yes.
How many people are we looking for this board?
5 to 7. 5 to 7 people. It will not operate like the planning commission. So, you know, this is their town. This is their storefronts. This is their voice being heard about what they want to see in their town center, in their Main Street. It cannot be overridden by you guys, but it will have to meet the code.
Right.
If the code says that, you know, this town center has to be in a western theme and the buildings need to be painted in this color. Because that's what the code says, that's what the code says, and that's what has to be done. It's not like they can flippantly say, okay, well, I've been given all this leeway and I decided to paint this building bright pink.
Yeah.
If our code says you can't paint it bright pink, you can't paint it bright pink. But, it's not giving them complete leeway to do whatever they want, but they also can't be overridden by you guys.
Right.
And you need to understand that up front.
And who's gonna choose the board?
John, hold on a second. Go ahead, John.
Yes, a question.
Well, I have to think about it while you're talking.
Okay.
Yeah,
If you appoint someone from the loose group of business owners in the town. And that person volunteers to. Put a monthly report into the ranch land. I volunteer to help that person put it in paragraph form.
awesome,
Very
thank you, John.
nice.
Thank you.
You've got my business card with the address, email. my
I
email?
don't have it, John. Every time I try to find you, I have to get a hold of the Ranchland.
So
Um,
what was your question, Jonathan?
He's asking who picks the board for Main Streets, and I believe
Yeah, I thought I heard you say that you're gonna put out applications.
we
so
are gonna put out
They're gonna
applications.
fill out an application and hand it in.
A lot of the interaction will be done by the staff at Main Streets.
Okay.
So their
then-
direction and their guidance will come more so from the staff at Main Streets than anybody else.
Their guidance is the board of Main Street will come from.
No, the staff with Main Streets. Staff is employed by DOLA.
Yeah.
It's a DOLA program.
Okay.
So.
So all those
the-
people we saw up there the other night,
Right.
they'll be the ones picking them.
Picking the board,
And that's
Main
the-
Street board.
Yeah, no, I will be honest with you, I don't know who chooses the initial board,
Oh.
okay? I'll have to talk to Gail and Tracy about that,
Sure.
but I do know that the guidance they'll have with their board and how they run their board will come more so from Main Streets than they will not come from this board.
Well, that makes sense, cause I can just see it now. Oh, the town board picked the people they wanted on there.
Exactly, and
Right.
that's, and it's
And
kind
the
of
whole
like our
point
code
is not
enforcement.
us.
Yeah,
Right.
it's kind of like our code enforcement. We're separating ourselves from that to keep that from
On
happening.
purpose, yeah,
On
Yes.
Yeah,
purpose.
well, that's a requirement of the program.
well, on purpose.
Yeah.
On purpose,
Yep.
yeah, so they, if they decide they wanna put planters down there, or, you know, do hanging flags, or, you know,
Then they got the direction from the citizens.
right.
Yeah, that's, and that's what they wanted to see, and you can override the citizens and those on town center and what they wanna see for
Right.
their business, or, you know, as long as it falls within the their
The code.
guidelines.
Yeah, I was trying to.
Yeah.
The building code.
What you're,
So, I know what you're trying to do.
Do we have a follow-up meeting that's similar to the one that we just did?
For Main Streets, or, I don't know of a follow-up meeting
February,
for, that's for Kimberly Horn.
Right.
oh,
That's
for a
Kimberly
different
Horn.
project.
That's a
For
different project.
That's for the roads and the
So that's what I was
bridges.
about to say.
Right.
Kimberly Horn was on site for this meeting.
Mhm.
We felt it would be advantageous since it's involving town center, since Kimberly Horn's project comes straight through town center.
Mhm.
And an aspect of that is the landscaping, is the design of what the town center will look like once these revisions are done. If we bring Main Streets in now, then we can utilize that board and having a voice in what
And
that
they can
Main
work
Street
together.
looks like.
Right.
And I think it would be better for a Main Street board to make that decision on what the Main Street looks like, rather than somebody that lives on the far end of town that doesn't work
Right.
or live on the Main Street,
Yeah.
you know? So that's why we brought Main Street in when we did, so they can work hand in hand. So Kimberly Horn came and kind of give a little update on how their project would integrate with Main Streets. But, they are coming back on February 13th for an actual community meeting involving just the storm drainage and sidewalk project.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Can we find out from Main Streets when they're planning on having another?
I'll ask them, yeah.
Okay. That way we can get the word out.
Yes, sir.
A little nudge,
Yeah.
I cover 2 board meetings,
Uh-huh.
and at 2 of those board meetings, there are sitting voting members who are principals at Farmer State Bank, not this Farmer State Bank, the ones down there. But 2 board meetings, principals from Farmer State Bank, for community people, they're on the boards and so on, so kind of a little nudge, talk to Farmer State Bank about being part of this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? What does DOLA stand for?
Department of Local Affairs.
Okay, thanks.
They're a state agency that works for us.
Cool.
Yeah, they help us a lot in a lot of ways.
Grants and all sorts of things.
I just wanted to say something really quick.
Yes, ma'am.
I had somebody text me. And I'm really sorry I missed that meeting. But I was so sick.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
been
you
going
have
around.
you have
Yeah.
the cooties, you just
I
keep them.
I did, but anyway, I'm so glad that we're doing that. I had a lady, her family has been here for a long time. She texted me at like 9:30. And I think it was Saturday night or something. And so she said, what is this Main Streets? Are they gonna be telling us what we can and what business we can and can't put into downtown? And I said, no. I said, Main Street is just to help us do like a beautification project here in town. You know, to help us, help you with grants and, Lauren's loans and stuff like that. To help put in new paint jobs or new landscaping, you
New
know?
signs.
And so I told her, I said, just come to the meeting, you
Yeah.
know, and she goes, oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did get a lot of backlash on social media when I posted the flyer for the
Yeah.
meeting.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And really it is,
I
it's
saw it too.
beautification and making the downtown attractive.
Yeah, and that's what I told her, the point that we've been making for a year, because I've been here on the board for almost a year now. And I'm like, we're the county seat and we want to look like.
well, it's like Trevor said, when you guys agreed to, and you voted to become a Main Street community,
Uh-huh.
Trevor said, it's time that we bring some pride back to Kiowa.
Yes.
I like that.
They have pride back in their community. And I agree with Trevor. I haven't seen much of it, you know,
There
people,
hasn't been.
for the most part, act defeated.
Yeah.
Here, so.
John,
That's interesting you bring that up.
My recommendation, be as general as you can, don't be specific.
Mhm.
And I'm referring specifically to the recent Town of Elizabeth board meetings where people came in and said, well, they said I could do this. How come you're saying I can't do this to the Board of Trustees? They said I could do this, and we're talking about the people part of this in Elizabeth,
Mhm.
so be general,
Mm.
don't be specific, don't make any promises, because the town board and trustees was a big deal for how many meetings, 6, 7 meetings?
Yes.
Was
Well, and
really-
there again, they have to go by
Yeah, it was.
what our ordinances are
Mhm.
for Main Street. And if they can't abide by that, I mean, it is no up to us. It's in writing there, folks. That's what you can do.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
So
Anyway.
we're looking to secure that board by mid-March. And
Start getting the word out.
there'll be a resolution that we need to sign, officially committing. And, an official application will be done to Main Streets and hopefully it will be finalized in April.
okay.
So,
Hopefully this is a lot easier to get people to wanna be on that board because it's like the controls in your hands.
yeah,
Well, we
Yeah.
need to make a point to those that are saying, I don't have a say-so in the town
Now's your
because
chance.
I don't
This
live
is your
there.
chance.
yeah,
Well, here's your chance.
yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, so the next thing, the storm drainage and sidewalk project updates. So, project manager with Kimley Horn, Jeremy Kahn, and planner Blake Young, were present, like I said, at, this meeting for an introduction to this project, along 86. Our first community meeting with them will be Thursday, February 13th at 6 o'clock at the Ag Building. There will be a survey that's going out from Kimley Horn disseminated across our community on January 20th. I do not know what's included in that survey yet, but the data that's collected off that survey that goes out to our community will be part of the presentation on February 13th. So they're utilizing responses from the community, with what they're presenting back on the 13th. Yes, ma'am.
How is that survey going out?
I don't know yet.
Okay,
I don't know yet.
okay,
We're still finalizing that, but I'll
Okay.
let you know. I
okay.
do know there will be a QR code. So I imagine it'll be a lot like the ones the county has sent out previously, through flyers and social media blasts and, at the post office,
Yeah,
such like
okay.
that. Let's see. So I had on that one, just a quick update on the Mavericks broadband. We're waiting on a response from Elbert County District Court as to whether they will entertain Mavericks' complaint and set a court date, or if they will grant the town's motion to dismiss. So we're still in the waiting place right now. Town Park Project. In your packet, you will have a memo from Christine, the lady from Fisher Project Management.
It says end of year report. If
Yes.
you-
Yeah. So, let me find that.
It was in between this big one from Civic and then the minutes from last month towards the end. Before
is one
the
page.
budget.
Put tearing my packet apart.
I had mine like.
I tend to think it.
Seems like I remember.
Well, I
reading.
seem to have neglected to give myself one. Can I see
It was-
your?
Yeah, in the middle.
Thank you.
It's kind of in an odd spot.
Right
So,
before the budget.
yes,
Here.
oh, between those two?
Mhm.
Oh, I
Oh.
inadvertently did that,
you are
okay.
right.
Well, I'll get this back to you.
Okay.
Christine's funding status is budget projections are underway. Initial estimates show potential project scope with improvements of both parks to come out at $1.2 to $1.5 million in a range. Research is well underway to determine the feasibility and best timing of approach for funding for a project of this size and scope, with full results anticipated in later January. I will tell you, she and I had initial conversations. We have weekly meetings. And there was a concern because with the suggestions, the consultant came out, did a review of both parks. We gave them a potential wish list. Basic stuff of, we'd like to have a bathroom in both of them to start with, okay? And she scoped out some different options for revisions to the park based off of what we currently have in place, okay? What new setup would be like, what new equipment would look like. So that when we have a community meeting regarding these park projects, she has options that she will show to the community to work off of, okay? Everything that she scoped out came out to about $1 million. Christine's concern was, and that's for both parks, mind you, okay? Christine's concern was that if we went in just to GoCo for both parks at the highest range, that we would not get the funding for it, okay? She had a very long conversation with GoCo right after Christmas. And they let her know that they're upping their ask limit to $2 million after July. So now with the new limit of ask, we have the capability of going in and asking at what it was originally estimated out at and meeting and being nowhere near the topped out point. So her suggestion, and I'm kind of summarizing her report here, is that we come in with a concept paper in July or August. At the point where they've already upped the maximum ask limit. And that would make our concept paper more competitive and more favorable. And at that point, they will make a decision to either ask us to come back and apply or tell us that we need to revise our concept paper and submit another one in December. But she's feeling very, very confident at this point with GoCo and coming in at the full ask. One of the things I'm currently working on with regard to the park project is a major component is showing a community buy-in, a community partnership. So I'm beginning conversations with businesses and beginning conversations with the school on what that would look like with them. You know, can we do tip jars at the businesses where people just throw in their change, you know, with the expectation that whatever change is thrown in there, that's the community's involvement and participation in partnering for the park project. Those tip jars would say this would go to town park project, you know. Going to the school and coordinating activities with the kids, you know, doing penny jars or something like that in the classrooms. And getting the kids involved in maybe looking at how to plan those parks, what those kids would like to see in the parks, you know, having those little meetings at the school, you know, those entities that utilize our parks, the churches, you know, when they have their vacation Bible school events down there. It's getting those different entities in the town involved in some form or fashion, so there's a community buy-in to this project. It's just not this board or this planning commission or this staff making the decisions on what those parks are gonna look like and what's gonna be in them.
On touching with the community involvement, I think, I think my question is, are we going to have an appointed person from them to take care of that funding? I don't want the general public, people that have been in here shaking their fingers at us, thinking that we're pocketing the money.
Christine is right. Christine is doing all of that.
Okay.
All I will do is file the reports that are necessary. Christine is what we signed on to do with her and her firm is an all-in.
Okay.
She will do the applications, she will do the footwork, you know, to seek the funding, she will do the, they're committing to the project management of it.
I just want to interject to make sure that we're communicating clearly. What you're talking about is the tip jars,
Yes.
because you said something about tip jars and penny
Oh,
banks.
tip jars.
And you're talking about, what if the community thinks that we're pocketing that,
That
that
money
tip
from
jar.
those jars.
Oh,
who's gonna,
That's-
who's
I mean,
gonna
I
watch
think
out
they're
for
just
them?
gonna have to put the trust into what we're doing, and then we can put out reports saying,
Mhm.
hey, the
Yeah.
school fundraised, you know.
and that's what we'd have to do, and that's what we
$200.
should do. you
Well,
know,
and-
if we're
and-
being
and I
transparent.
think
In the
back
spirit of
to-
transparency.
Yeah,
Back
Transparency,
to what was
exactly.
discussed with us last year, when I decided to run for this position. We do a town hall, get the people together and tell them, this is what we're trying to do. But we need your help. We need your ideas and such before any of this gets anywhere. And then that we say
Yeah.
we're, this company's gonna handle all this for us, give them all the facts up front, and then say, now give us your ideas.
I think it would be great if we did one of those things where you did like a thermometer and this is what
Yeah.
our goal is.
Yeah.
And
Put it right
Yeah.
out front.
put it
so
right
anyone
out
that comes
front,
in-
so
Mhm.
everybody can see, this is where we're at, this is
Right.
where, we started, this is where we're at.
Right.
Instead of goal for the communities aspect of it,
Yes.
know?
I don't want you putting tip jars out for that,
Yeah.
because we have a discussion. Well, I don't know whether it's gonna come to fruition. We're checking, Kim ran across somebody up in Bennett that might be able to do pyrotechnics
Oh, we got that.
for us.
I'm not worried about that.
And, we would like to bring the fireworks back here to the
Oh,
fairgrounds.
We'd love that. I
And
get
I'd
so
like
many
to-
people
Yes,
asking.
I'd like to put the
We
tip
haven't had
jars
them
out
since
again.
2017, almost 8
Right,
years.
yeah.
Yes, we're.
Every year I get yelled
Kim's
at, just so you
working it.
guys know, every year after 4th of July, I get an influx of complaints and I get yelled at
Mhm.
over why hasn't Kiowa brought back the fireworks display? And I'm like, what
The cost is
Right.
tremendous.
freaking fireworks
Yes.
display?
Right.
I thought the fire department used to.
They
do-
did,
They
and
did.
that's what I found out,
Yeah.
but people think that the town put that on.
Right.
Mm.
So
How come the fire department?
You do the fill.
they don't have the budget, and they weren't getting the donations, they were
Right.
doing fill the boat, and they weren't getting the
And
donations.
kind of
anymore.
what our thoughts are, we're gonna hit up some of the businesses
Mhm.
and, can you give us $100 donation? The larger businesses, can you give us $500? Because it's gonna cost about 12 grand to do
Yeah,
it.
and,
Incredibly.
so I've had
expensive.
meetings for the last
Yes.
2 days regarding that. I have another meeting on Thursday in
Okay.
Bennett with a pyrotechnician.
Okay,
That's a side, I don't think that's part of my update on here,
no,
but
it's not, I'm
it's a-
veering off subject here.
yeah, I have a meeting in Thursday for 2 hours in Bennett with a licensed pyrotechnician.
Huh.
About bringing that back to Kiowa.
Yeah.
Once I meet with him, then I have a meeting next week with the fire department, the sheriff's department. I don't know if you guys know this, but the sheriff's department is actually the one that issues that ability, not the fire departments here in Colorado.
Okay.
One moment, John, and, the fire marshal in Elizabeth is actually the fire marshal for the county. So we will have a follow-up meeting next week to discuss, requirements in order to have that here
Sure.
and formulate a formal plan for it. And then at that point, if I've secured that, then I'll start seeking corporate funding
Right,
to help. the town
and
do
my
it.
suggestion, and I'll get with you, John, here. My suggestion is, let's hit up businesses in Elizabeth. Let's hit up, business in Semla.
Well, cause
The
it will
little
be a,
towns. This
It
is
will be the only
place
fireworks
in
display in
Elbert
the county.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Well, similar.
Go ahead, John.
Do they?
I put on my old show.
Hmm, I didn't know that. Yes, sir.
Who does?
Similar?
You haven't said this, so I'm assuming you don't know this. Farmers State Bank has a support program, loan private program, whatever you call it, grant program, whatever, up to $5,000 for a community event.
Yes.
IREA, now CORE,
Mhm.
has a
yeah, we know about that.
Support
Up to
Kim does.
$5,000.
Yeah.
up to $5,000
Yeah.
for a community event.
Yeah.
Start there.
Yes,
That's what we plan to
Farmers
do.
State Bank, 5,000.
Yeah.
IREA CORE.
Yeah.
5,000.
yeah,
That'd be a
that's
good
You're not
a
idea.
talking
grand right
about
there.
12,000, you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I just can't reasonably reach out to them yet and ask for funding if I haven't got something
Right,
established
we
saying.
gotta
that
make sure that
step
it's
it in, I can do
established.
it.
First meeting of the Main Street Board, they say priority is fireworks in 2025 on July 4th.
Yeah.
That's number one.
Yeah.
That
well,
might-
we can talk about it further when we get.
Yes.
there.
Talk about it
We
further.
do it, we
Yes.
should do it big.
Well, that
Yes.
might,
Right.
that might get some more community buy-in. Hey, we got fireworks back now.
Right.
Let's
Right.
let's do something with our Main Street.
I used to come out from, Aurora to see them, because my sister lives out this way. They were better than what you saw in town. They were beautiful.
Yeah.
So,
I have a quick question,
Yes, ma'am.
might be stupid. What does GOCO stand for?
GOCO is the Greater Outdoors Colorado.
right,
I was trying to remember it.
Sure. Two things I don't have listed on here that I need to give you an update on. Your Apple iPads, are with Phoenix right now being set up. Once that's complete, I'll have more information for you guys, as far as disseminating them and setting up a training time.
Okay.
Lastly, I came upon an opportunity by chance last week, I think a few of you guys remember, a year or so ago, we canceled a membership to the Eastern Plains Council of Governments, because we didn't really know what they did for us. And then Candace came in and updated us, and we reinitiated that membership. And then she came in a little while later with a new grant writer they hired, Stacy Salling, okay? They've employed a full-time grant writer and have taken on some consultant companies as well that are coming in and writing huge grants for municipalities and really sometimes this region as a whole. An opportunity has come forward, it's called a RAISE grant. It's a pot of money from the US Department of Transportations, it's a federal grant. It's about $75 million. AR 360 Consulting Group has come in and they are writing a very large submittal for this entire region, and what that money is slotted for, that is applicable to Kiowa is transportation routes. Kind of the same concept as 86, it's regarding safety, economic vitality. And they asked and it's for roadways that aren't really the main roadways through town, they're not highways, okay? Our other two priority routes is County Road 45, from 86 down to the end of a housing project, town limits, and Kiowa Bennett Road from 86 down to the end of the fairgrounds. So I had a long conversation with them. I actually did attend this meeting because I found a grant that might be applicable to us. We were concerned that we wouldn't qualify as an applicant because we didn't meet some of the poverty levels, disadvantaged requirements. As a whole, though, if 50% of the communities that they're writing this grant for meet that, then the rest of us would qualify under that. All of us do not have to qualify, only 50% of them do, and they do. So we qualify to come in under this grant. What they've talked to me about is they're taking this $75 million pot and they're splitting that in 3 grants, a planning grant, a construction grant, and a flow over grant. So we are submitting County Road 45 and Kiowa Bennett Road as a planning grant, meaning we're gonna get money to have Kimley Horn do exactly what they're doing right now in 86, plan and design and engineer. So that we can incorporate those into 86 in the same, and they will flow into 86 the same way 86 is flowing. They will have the storm drainage, the sidewalks, the revisions.
Are we limited to those 2 roads?
They've gotta be.
Those
like
are our
main
priority routes.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
not
Priority
just
routes.
residential streets.
Well, cause I was thinking about Pawnee, where the sheriff
Mhm.
goes all the time,
Yeah, well,
just thought,
when we went over what we have completely in the
Mhm.
town, right now, those 2 are the main ones. And just know, there's other communities coming in too.
sure,
Okay, so they have their own projects that they're trying to fund.
yeah, okay.
But those 2 roads are our priority routes for snow plowing. So that's why those 2 were chosen, first. And under the construction one, they requested to go ahead and put in a submittal for the construction portion of 86. So, there is an opportunity to receive funding for construction so we can move directly out of planning and directly into construction once they're done with where they're at. They feel very optimistic about this. And so, but there's a quick turnaround. So right now I'm actively seeking, partnerships, letters from businesses and residents, along these 2 routes, to support these grants. I got 6 today after I sent out the email. So I'm needing those. That deadline to get those in is by end of business tomorrow. So
Right.
I'm trying to get those in as fast as I can. The submittal date for this grant is the last week of this month. So they are really working to get all of the data in from all the communities in this region and write this grant.
That would be great.
Kimley Horn is working overtime right now to get us numbers that we can submit for the construction.
Yeah, we get a lot of complaints about Kyle Bennett, so
Mhm.
that'd be awesome to
Oh,
get
yeah.
that fixed.
I think
There's
that's probably
just-
the biggest.
Yeah,
So,
John?
Have you connected, Candace with Christine Fisher?
no, I've not connected them yet.
You wanna do that?
Okay.
Saying, Tammy, you would get your sign.
I know. we'll get sidewalks all cleaned up. And, you know, you'd be really surprised at how many people don't know what's going on in town because they don't come to these meetings. But
Yeah.
I've had so many people say, when are they gonna replace the bridge, you know? And
I had the
do you get that
undersheriff do
daily?
that today.
Yeah.
He says, CDOT can help us, they can build us a new bridge, and I'm like, they are.
Right.
To the tune of
Yeah.
$13 million.
Yeah.
He said, when is that gonna happen, the next 20 years? I'm like, actually, it's gonna start construction next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and that's what I say to people all
Yeah.
the time. I said by 2027, you won't know Kiowa.
Who said that?
Undersheriff.
That,
It's
yeah,
gonna be nice.
it
So,
really will be.
so it was good, I
The
know
sheriff
that
said that.
the undersheriff,
Oh,
the
the
sheriff
okay.
knew, but the undersheriff did not
I was
know
gonna say,
that.
that's so funny, cause Tim comes in all the time.
Yeah.
And his first question is, what's going on with the town?
Yeah, yeah. So, anyway. That's all I have under my updates.
Okay,
I have nothing for Public Works, and your first quarter report from code enforcement's not due till April.
okay. Consent items. Did everybody get a minute to take a look at the December 10th minutes?
Yes.
Motion to approve.
Okay, any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Hi.
Opposed? Okay. Sign this one now, right? Yep.
Mhm.
Okay. Expenditures for year to date.
First month in, they're gonna look really strange until
Yeah,
they start leveling out.
I remember you telling us that last year because it looks like we're really in the hole.
Yeah,
Looks bad.
yeah.
Yeah, motion to, or,
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
I,
Aye. Opposed?
You guys can sign those,
I was just going to, I have a note here,
so I can scan those in.
make sure that we sign all of these. It's not saying we've read them yet,
No,
but we are committing to reading
I
them.
thought that's what it says. By signing this, I agree that I have.
Oh, it does say that I have read, understood, and complied with.
I haven't read it yet, so can I turn it back in?
you can sign it. I'm gonna take it that when you take it home, you're gonna read it.
Yes,
Because,
I'm gonna probably go home and go to sleep.
well,
well,
you're gonna.
read it tomorrow.
Hey, Kim,
Yeah.
just to be sure. For the Main Street project, I'm putting that out there, hey, you guys should, try to be a part of this board starting March-ish.
yeah,
Correct.
well, I'm gonna finalize that application. And Trish,
If I were to start working about
Trish has
it.
already started doing work on the website.
Thank you.
So once that application's done,
I never.
I can get that posted to the website. People can start finding it there, filling it out, submitting it. I'm gonna talk with Dale and Tracy tomorrow and see how that first board is formed.
Okay,
Cause I know we don't have a part of that. We don't
Right.
assign them.
I'm just thinking as far as putting
There you go.
a
Ms.
couple
Sargent.
bugs out.
Yeah, it's literally, it's all about them. And we won't be able to have a Main Street program at all if we don't have their involvement, because your board won't fill those positions, the planning commission won't fill those positions, we won't have any say in any of that. We will only-
Excuse me, you guys,
Motion to
I
approve.
think it's hard for everybody to hear. You guys could adjourn, but
We can't talk business outside of public meeting, though, Ruth.
no, but everybody's talking over. Like, I can't hear you guys because people are talking, so I don't know how the recording's gonna.
I understand that.
I think you answered it.
Okay, all right,
Thank you.
All
Terry.
right, do we have anything under old business?
No, ma'am,
Any discussions, communications come in?
no, ma'am.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay.
We are done at 8:57.